Now, if there's one thing that we touched onto Nio yesterday a bit is, of course, the positive cash that we saw them reporting on Q3 or during their Q3 earnings. This is the 300 million, which now took the cash at hand figure to be from $5.7 billion we saw in Q2 to $6 billion, which was a $300 million increase, which is something that was, of course, it's pretty exciting. This is the reason why even JP Morgan yesterday said because of this, investors are not concerned as much, because there were so many investors spreading news or saying that Nio could go to bankruptcy very soon, and knowing that Nio is piling or increase their cash at hand position, or they show an improvement on their cash conditions, this now makes investors to take a chill pill, relax. Those that were worried about bankruptcy, I think we can safely say that it's out of the equation, because now they started showing some improvement onto the cash conditions, which is pretty exciting, something that is very interesting. So there is no bankruptcy. We are not going to see Nio in the near future going to bankruptcy, because they are generating some positive cash flows or cash and cash equivalents, which I suppose we are going to continue seeing even in the upcoming quarters, because this, you will know that it offers the highest level of liquidity in terms of short-term obligations and operating expenses, which this was positive, or one of the things that were positive onto Nio's Q3 earnings. I know some of the people don't see this or maybe underlooked this statement, but these to investors, especially those that were panicking about Nio could go to bankruptcy soon if they don't watch out, it takes that fear away, as even said by JP Morgan yesterday. It makes investors to be at ease. You can invest knowing that Nio is a company which is set for greatness. Nio is a company that won't go to bankruptcy, or Nio is a company that won't introduce more dilutions in the near term, because of their cash balance is becoming stronger, because of their cash and cash equivalent it's getting stronger. So this is good, man. This, to me, when I saw this over and above the, of course, guidance, over and above the gross margins, this to me was also very important. There are three things that I said on those earnings report, or there are three things which I said during the week, that on those earnings report, if you are to forget about everything, you need to remember about them, and that is the positive cash flow we are talking about. That is the guidance that Nio gave of between 72 and 75,000, which really shocked most of the investors, as they were not expecting this, judging from the kind of deliveries that Nio has been pulling through, judging because of the insurance registrations we've been getting on a weekly basis, and also the gross margins. Gross margins are now back to double digits, and this should even go further, or these margins should be improved. And now in Q4 we could see Nio generating or having a vehicle margin of over 15%, which is something that as investors we want to see, because the more vehicle margin grows is, of course, the more we are going to see gross margins also increasing, which this is something that is very important when you look into the profitability side of the company, which Nio is prioritizing. Nio, it's not prioritizing sales volume, but rather they want to prioritize gross margins, because they know the higher the gross margin, the easier it will be for them to get to profitability. The more they have cash at hand, it will not force them to go offer more dilutions or introduce more share dilutions onto the Nio stock, which these to investors, like I said, it's very important. And it was positive to know that Nio generated $300 million in terms of positive cash during Q3, which is, of course, absolutely great. So when we see this, when you read this kind of news, as an investor, when I saw this, I was very excited, because most of the videos that I do here, there's always those investors or retail investors that will always come and say that Nio is going to bankruptcy. Nio is going to be bankrupt very soon. And knowing that Nio is generating a positive cash, or so $300 million positive cash generated, which boosted their cash and cash at equivalent, this just cancels out those fears that some of these investors were having onto Nio. I'm not saying in the long term, but in the short term, at least we know that we are covered. And the more Nio generates these positive cash flows in every quarter, is the more we're going to see their balance sheet being stronger and stronger. And that's what investors wants to see. We want to see cash at hand very soon getting to $10 billion. That is what we want to see, because we know that the liquidity there, it's massive, right? So yeah, man, tell me what you think about this. This is one thing that I thought I should just come and stress out, to say that there is no more bankruptcy, there is no more issues of Nio running out of cash, because in Q3 Nio generated 300 million more cash and increased on their existing $5.7 billion cash at hand to make it now have $6 billion. This was also the main headline, and I thought I just give this news to you. So tell me what's on your thought based on what I just told you, or tell me what you think about this. Otherwise, I will appreciate if you can just hit the likes button, subscribe, and once you subscribe, don't forget to hit or click the notification bell. It takes me some time to make these videos, and what made me also realize this is when I was taking time, because you'll know that after the earnings or Q3 earnings, yeah, I just quickly browsed through and I had to do a video for you guys, in case those that have not gotten chance to go and have a look into their Q3 earnings report. They can always come to YouTube and they know that they can find the information on this channel, which is why I did not take that much of a time. I just browsed through and summarized all those things. But now when I go back, when I check this thing, I realize that this, man, it scrapes off the bankruptcy that some of the retail investors were worried about, right? It scrapes off the concerns of more cash dilutions coming in the future, because the more Nio generates a positive cash flow, it's the more we are going to see things becoming better for Nio in the future. So hit that subscribe button. It takes me some time. I'll appreciate if you have not subscribed, consider doing that, because on this channel is the company that I talk a lot about, because I believe in their fundamentals and their future prospects. Those that are persevering throughout the headwinds of the share price will most definitely be rewarded with time. Do your own due diligence so that at least you are comfortable as you are investing onto this stock, because let's face it, it's quite volatile, and therefore if you do not do your own due diligence, you'll end up panic selling like some of the investors that did, based on how they see the share price of Nio is moving. And some of them have regretted, or some of them are regretting why they sold at a loss. But us, the long-term investors, we're going to remain long and strong and take the low trading price as opportunities to buy more shares, to scoop more holdings, because we know one thing, and that is blue sky is coming. That's all from me, and God bless you all.